pretty smart, actually.
There's actually two. Speaking of like fake information, let's see if this link still works. I use this one to create the fake accounts for other stuff.
Oh, let me check it out.
Because I suck at creating names and stuff. So with this link, you go in there and will generate any random name, birthday, phone, everything, like everything you need to BS, like to fill out the credit card forms and stuff.
Oh, nice. Well, what about email address?
Apparently there's a service there that'll last for a day.
Oh, okay, this is a real email address. Click here to activate it. Nice. It even gives you a password, which I don't think I'd use, but that's still funny.
If it's just for like, oh, I'm just gonna, you know, go in and get out, or I just need to download this one file, for some reason is behind this, you know, login screen and all this stuff, sure. You know.
Oh, I usually just look at Bug Me Not and see if there's anything over there.
Bug Me Not. I need to look at that one.
Oh yeah, basically someone's already done what you did with fake information, and then they just post the username and password on Bug Me Not, so that you could log in and do things.
I need to look at that one. Clean up this one. Yeah. I don't have to cut up more. Oh shit. But yeah, I don't know. I enjoy soldering because I don't have to think too much. And at the end of the day, I have something physical that it works. Versus, you know, stuff that...
I like it. If it's something that has a lot of repetitive things, I like it, you know, towards the middle and end, because then I got like a rhythm going. But when I first start, or like those chips I was soldering the other day that I posted a picture of, that first chip, which was the bigger one, took me so long because I was overthinking it, and I was like hating myself on how badly it was sucking, and I mean, it was just like this whole big ordeal in my brain. And then, you know, by the time I got to the little one, it was, well, the little one was easier because I didn't need as much solder. So whatever solder I already had on the iron was like good enough to like poke at it. But you know, by the time I got to the third board, I was like rocking it because, you know, I soldered, it was like my 9th chip that I was soldering on.
Yeah, once you get the practice in, everything goes better. Like, I am dreading the first grid, the first row, the first grid, until...
Yeah, that's already nightmare fuel in my head. But there's things like, I'm watching you solder, and you kind of just, I'm guessing those are those little through hole things that the pin doesn't fall through all the way in, right?
Correct.
Okay. Even then, I would have like poked the pin too much, and it would like partially come out, and then the solder would have been halfway, and then I'd fudge with it, and then it would come out, but then the solder would solidify, and then I'd be like fighting that, and then I would burn myself, and you know, it would be a whole big ordeal for the first couple of them.
Yeah, but the cool thing is, as long as you have this level, they're not like 100% straight, but I can live with that. But
yeah, I'm gonna, just because I know how much better I've gotten in soldering just in the little bit I've done, it's just, there's certain things that I really struggled with. Oh yeah, look at that.
I'm trying to like do it all nicely, like presentation is like yeah, I can't make it work.
But
it's so
there's
inverted.
certain things in your doing that you don't even realize you're doing it because it's just pure experience. Like, it's just an intuition now.
Is that what they call it nowadays?
Experience? That you get good at things because you have experience? Yeah. That works. But I mean, I just noticed there's a, you just have a better feel for things, so you don't do as many stupid things because you've already done them.
That right? And this new soldering iron is amazing.
Oh yeah, that's the one I have. I really like it. I mean, I kind of joke, but like I cheated myself since that was my first soldering iron. I went straight for the Hacko because it was, recommended as a good, but not, good, cheap, but not shitty soldering iron. Like it's not the cheapest one, but it's not super expensive either.
Yeah, when I first saw it, like you see it on like on the internet and everything. Let's see what I'm talking about. It looks like a toy. Like,
oh, that blue, yeah.
Yeah, the blue and the yellow. It's like it screams. Was it Tunker Toys or something? And it's like, hell. But then when I unboxed it and how heavy it was, and it's like, oh my god, it's all metal. I can knock out somebody with it.
Hold on, I have a phone call real quick. Hold on.
Sure. But that soldering iron is amazing. Alright. Lay out everything for that board. This will be for later. More resistors. Power connector. Switch. Crystal thingy.
Back.
This other thingy.
So remember how I said I was gonna talk to my dad if he wanted to help me buy an oscilloscope for my, like, I never asked for anything for Christmas.
Oh yeah.
If I don't tell him what I want, he won't get me anything, and then I just didn't really want anything.
Yeah.
And my birthday just happened, so he's been nagging about that. So I go, I'm probably gonna get this oscilloscope. You like want to help me buy it? And he just called me, be like, by the way, your oscilloscope's here. And he just bought it. He straight up bought it.
At least you were nice. It's like you want to help me versus can I has.
I didn't think he would. I think he's just excited that I'm buying an oscilloscope. Because he knows hardware stuff. He just he's not good at teaching newbies. He's very knowledgeable, but I don't think I've learned a lot from him if I already knew something. He doesn't have a lot of patience with uber noobs, or I learn much differently than he likes to teach. How's that? So,
yeah, no, I understand. Like at robotics, ask a question to one of the engineers, and he's an electrical engineer, but not a programmer. But he's like downloaded the whole fucking Wikipedia onto his brain. And I ask him, this is like, hey, is this it's just a regular yes or no question? It's like, how does this, or how do I get it to read it from this? It's like, well, you see how it works. Originally, they used it in trains. Are you familiar with mechanics? It's like, no. Okay, well, he goes into this long 30-minute explanation, which still doesn't answer my question. How do I connect a potentiometer to the motor control, and then read the sensor? So I understand.
Yeah, there's just certain, if you're used to talking to people with a certain baseline of knowledge, it's hard for you to understand what other people don't understand.
Yes.
And you're not used to talking to newbies. So I'm having the same problem with the ham radio stuff where they mention 100% accurate information.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a good example. They had a podcast. They had an episode. So his wife just got licensed, and so she's trying to learn stuff. And she got a Circuit Python, and she wanted to know about what's a microcontroller. How do I think about this? Mm-hmm. And what you should be going through is, okay, just think about it like a little computer that you're programming. You got some memory, and you have Flash and stuff like that. You're gonna write a program. It's going to run on that device, and you can do things. You have inputs and outputs. These pins, you can turn them so that they either put data out or put data in. Keep it very, very high level. What is it?
Yeah, and don't go into the details, but just look.
Yeah, they start saying stuff like, oh, it's a 328 and something. I swear to God, at one point they're like sine wave at 10 megahertz, and I'm just like, this poor lady has no idea what they're saying. I guarantee it.
Right.
And so everything they said was accurate and true and related to what they were talking about, but in no way useful.
Yeah, but in their jargon and everything.
Well, because knowing that it's a 328 versus the tiny 85 is that matters and changes the conversation, because intuitively they already know, like, oh, we have less pins and less RAM and processing, and the clock can be not as great because there's an internal clock versus the, like, say the Arduino, which has the external clock. Like,
yeah, but that's not gonna bother anybody. Like, that's just in their head. It's like, how do I make this bitch blink?
If you're just trying to find out what it does and how to think about it, none of those details help you at all. Mm-hmm. Right? And so that's how a lot of times when I try to ask my dad something very knowledgeable and correct, but I get overwhelmed with the data, and then I'll try to ask a question as I want to do, right? Mm-hmm. And he doesn't like being, he wants to finish his explanation because maybe he's going to answer it, but like I'm already like, why? I'm confused. I need to ask a question to sort of.
I already asked Google.
Handle,
we're good.
I need to not control. What am I thinking of? I don't understand something, so that's what I'm going to focus on, because I don't know if that's important or not. So he actually knows a lot about. He's an embedded programmer actually, mm-hmm. But he's building his own thing. I don't know, for the car. I'm sure he's told me about it. I don't know how to. So he has an electric. He has a truck that he's going to turn to an electric truck. Maybe it was already an electric truck, and he's got some destroyed leaf. He went to the what do they call it? Junkyard. Mm-hmm. They had a bunch of leaves there, so he got their batteries, and then he's writing some code for some things, and he's making some hardware, and he's something ESP32, and I don't know. There's all these things going on. I don't know, because he has definitely told me about it, but it's so above my head, and any questions I asked has not clarified that. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't. I don't know. So, one interesting side effect of me learning this stuff is that I have more of a vocabulary to talk to him about some of this stuff, but it's still so far above my head that it's hard for me to really do it.
Right.
So I think he's just excited that I'm getting an oscilloscope. He's had the same oscilloscope probably for 30 years. But he does know how to use one.
I think it's probably like the equivalent, like a dad getting his son a toolbox, their first toolbox and stuff. He gets to buy you your first oscilloscope.
Well, it's made like because I was using his soldering iron when I first started, and that thing's also about 30 years old and would die. Like, I'm like, oh good, I know what to buy him for Christmas. I got him a Weller.
Nice. I'm gonna solder the resistors real quick because those are annoying. And yay, extra parts. I always love it when they come with it. Extra parts.
So I haven't bought my plane ticket yet, but I bought a hotel for, is it KeyCon or KaiCon? I don't know. The KaiCad convention that Chris Grimmel's putting on in Chicago.
Uh-huh.
So I got a hotel that's refundable up until like April, 20th or whatever.
So you're gonna just like, maybe if I feel like it kind of thing?
Well, I just, I only had to pay like $100 as a deposit, so it's not, that's doable right now, but I don't know about, like, there's flight and time off work, and if I go to this conference, like, it's in Chicago, so I have to leave, it's Friday, Saturday, which means I really have to leave Thursday, so I can arrive stupid ass late Thursday night, or Friday morning, because it's going to be after midnight probably, maybe, like, I need to, am I going to take some time off work on Thursday? I mean, I have to leave work early regardless, but is it like an hour, 2 hours early, or like 4 hours early? Am I leaving at 2? So I need to figure out.
It's all the planning.
Well, it's just, I don't actually go to conferences outside of California usually. So even if I fly, the flight is within the same time zone and not very long, because sometimes I go to San Francisco, or it's like a long train ride or something. But it's not like, oh, I'm gonna leave. I have a flight that leaves at 6 p.m. and I arrive at like 12 a.m. the next day. Just because of the time difference. Like when I go to Hamvention in Ohio, that's gonna kill me because it's 3-hour time difference, and again, I don't want to show up in the middle of Friday because I'm missing everything. But then if I want to show up Thursday and still get in my hotel, I don't know. Still figuring it out. And then so we'll see money wise how I feel about the rest of the cost of everything. And
I want to say is like you're probably just overthinking it, but I am the same way.
No, it's just there's a lot. It takes a lot to go to a conference, period. And then the conference itself is a whole experience, especially if it's the first time I've been there and I don't really know anyone. And in this case, it's 100% not in the field. Like at least with security, it's like, well, I'm a programmer, so I'm blue team. Yeah. Like this is like, I just like blinky bling, and I'm just too lazy to do something, but I like hanging out with people who do. I don't know. I'm hoping to have a little badge thing for it by then. Like I want to. That's my. Don't wait till DEF CON to do my next shitty add-on. It's gonna be hopefully for that, and hopefully I'll do it in KiCad or whatever, since
it's all there.
I still haven't learned that.
Yeah, I feel like we need it's nice to have everything ready for DEF CON and everything, or have it at DEF CON, but I feel like for a lot of our, like, just to get the ball rolling and to make sure everything works, to, even if you pass the deadline, have it ready for the next year kind of thing. But
are you involved in making something?
God, no. I've been, if anything, I've just been, my entire free time been with robotics. So I get off of work, I go straight there, help out, and I stay there until like 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and then come home, take a shower, go to sleep, go to work, go back, and only had like Sundays to rest.
But I mean, do you because I know there's I guess that was the Austin group who made the little shitty add-on that I have, that you saw a picture of the pin like upside down and you recognized it.
The snake badge?
The snake.
No, it was here.
That
was Houston.
Oh, okay, cool. I couldn't remember if it was Austin or not. I'm terrible.
No, it's okay. Yeah, it was a 713 badge, shitty add-on. Because the dude, one dude did it all himself. I was like, oh, dude, cool. We were like, oh man, yeah, just add more features. He's like, no man, I'm moving, and this is the best I can do, and if you want to do it, here are the files. It's like, I don't know anything yet. I wanted to.
I mean, that's how you learn. I mean, like I said, I didn't know. I learned to solder in January, and then I had I guess by the end of February, around this time is when I made my first little badge. So I didn't really have I didn't know how to breadboard it even. I just made it in Eagle and then sent it off, and then it was wrong. So I tried to figure out why, and then sent that off again.
That's impressive, actually.
It's not. I followed it was only 2 LEDs, 2 resistors, and a battery, and I still fucked it up.
So I would have probably done the same. If I was first learning Evo, I would have done the same.
Why I knew that there was polarity on a battery, but I for some reason got it backwards.
Oh, who had somebody was making something too, and then didn't realize the polarities was weird or something, and that it came out everything upside down. I forgot who it was.
Well, then it was all through hole, so I think I actually can't remember if I ever tried just flipping the LEDs backwards. Like I can't remember the battery holder I was using didn't like that.
That's weird.
But no, I mean I'm not dissing what I've done, but I've done very little. 'Cause I mostly just watch you guys build things. I don't really build my own things.
I always buy the kits. I've been wanting to create a servo arm with the servo brackets, kind of like a robot thing, and then have it programmed with the camera and to be able to detect the tool. So once I put a screwdriver down, it'll just pick it up and put it where it goes, kind of thing. And somebody, there's an article in Hackaday where somebody did exactly that, but with nuts and screws and bolts, and you would just put them right in front of it, and it'll start organizing it for you by the size and the type. And I was like, yes, it wants.
My original goal was come up with something, just make a Blinky badge. Like I did that, and then it's like, so I actually started with the Adafruit, which was, they do a lot of good. They make it very easy to be like, just grab all this shit and kind of plug it together, and here's how. But it's like I made a LED blink. I did make a LED blink before. That I soldered some of those sequin LEDs together. And so I made it blink, and then it's like, cool. No, I have no idea what's going on here. But then I made that badge. I think I just Googled an online calculator to figure out what my resistor needed to be. And then I got self-flashing LEDs. And I actually spent more time fighting Illustrator than anything, actually. So that was cool. It was fun. I was really like, yes, I got this thing. I brought it to scale with me, and like I actually met some cool people because they noticed the badge, and you're going to the Badge Life thing. I'm like, yeah, I am. But then it's like, okay, I wanted to do something else, and I don't know how. Like, how do you? It blinks an LED. Now what?
Now I think our next stage for the add-on badges are microcontrollers.
Well, so that's pretty much, I found a tutorial on how to make your own Arduino. I did breadboard that just because the tutorial I watched showed you exactly how to do that. So cool. And then I found out about Tiny85s, and I programmed that, and I made that blink a thing. Oh, did I ever show you technically the first? Hold on, I'll be right back. I need to go find a picture.
Okay. And again, alright. Motherfucker. No, I didn't burn myself. The solder flux jumps a lot with this new solder iron. So minor, tiny burns. It's okay. It's a little happy accidents.
Happy little accidents.
Speaking of Adafruit, we get the box next month, correct?
I still put my last box together, and I saw the keeper's build of that, and it's like, oh, that's easy. There's not much to it either.
Man, I would have built that thing. I would have programmed it to OBS. I would have been DJing on that.
Shit. Yeah, I know. I know. Like I said, I'm a lazy piece of shit, and I just live vicariously through other people. Because somehow, I guess I assume I would learn through osmosis or something.
You know, if you're not gonna do anything with this, send it to me.
It'll happen eventually. It's just, it's so beautiful, and I don't want to fuck it up.
There is some minor soldering, isn't there?
Yeah, but I mean, it's fairly straightforward.
Yeah. And I was looking and I was trying to see if I can buy it, and they brought it back, and then I think it was for the same price or a little bit more, but it had none, like all the extra stuff, like the stand. I was like, dang, she right. Like the stand.
Oh yeah, it's much cheaper to do the box by at least $15 to $20, I think, for the base stuff.
Yes.
'Cause it's like $79 by itself, but it was like, you know, $60 with the.
Yeah, but then see, you
box.
get it's $70, but then what's it called? You don't get the little stand. You just get the wire.
Yeah.
You don't get the casing. You don't, or you lose that minor stuff. And
Okay, I just posted a link in the badges, actually, since it's technically a badge.
I see it. That's pretty cool.
I was actually very proud of that. I did this like, what was it?
I'm actually impressed. I would have done the same thing, kept it minimal with the tiny. Are there actual wires or the hard, like jumper wires?
I did, because I can't do anything preemptively. At like 11 p.m. the night before I left for Maker Faire, I did that same setup with just like 2 NeoPixels and then no button. Let me see if I have a picture of that. And then I went to the Hackaday Tindy meetup at Maker Faire, and it was so fucking bright. I'm like, okay, I need to. Here, this is a picture of it. I don't have a standalone picture. Oh, why didn't that work?
And I'm looking at what do I need to solder on here next. Oh well.
Doesn't like it. Let's try this again.
Okay.
I don't know why it doesn't let me. I can see it in the preview, but not when I actually upload it. Fucking iPhone.
And you guys are slowly saying the Windows was better-ish.
Nope, never.
Damn, so close. I need to work on that one that I have at work and just command line the hell out of it. Get it done. J1. So how do I know which one's a J1? Oh, I'm guessing with that.
I had to take a screenshot of it and upload that. So I posted another image. So I soldered the Tiny 85 on there, and then 2 NeoPixels, and then like fucked up. They're not like in a straight line.
Mm-hmm.
And then on accident, I happened to solder a LED. I actually thought I was doing it in series, but I was really doing it in parallel, which is what you're supposed to do, or it won't work.
Uh-huh.
But I was using that to figure out if there was power around the whole thing. So you can kind of see that in the corner. I have like a little pink LED.
Yeah.
So I built that at like 11 p.m. I started at 11 p.m. I don't remember what time I finished for Maker Faire. And then for layer 1, same thing. It's like 11 p.m. night before the conference. I'm like, oh, I should make a badge. And so I just did that same design, but with more LEDs. And then I actually can't remember how I powered the other one. But I had a lipo on that one, and a button so that you could it starts dimmer and you can hit a button to make it brighter.
Nice.
Yeah, I was very proud of that one, actually, because it was different. And I actually met Zap from Anot XOR in at layer 1, and I was like too embarrassed to show him that.
But Yeah, I remember reading a story of a guy that had, or somebody was talking about having the goggles, the LED goggles things, but they just, solder in, that was it, they didn't do anything. But then one dude went in and, like, reprogrammed it and had to do all these other things. And then he saw that and he felt embarrassed. He slowly started taking it off, kind of thing.
Aww.
Yeah.
Why are our brains so dumb?
Because.
So
where's the other one?
Yeah. So one thing I also was dumb of that second image. I don't know if you noticed all those little test clips on there. So I programmed on a breadboard the default NeoPixel strip code, and then soldered it all together, and then like, oh cool, okay, let me make it do something else, and I'm like, oh fuck, how do I do that? I can't. Like I didn't leave enough room for pins for me to put headers on there to make it so I could reprogram it. So I found those test clips and I was able to grab onto because it's the dip Tiny 85, so
yeah, those things are tiny, but I love them.
Yeah, I ordered some from AliExpress because they're really if I go to Fry's, I bought them at Fry's originally, but they're expensive for what you get and how many you get. So I have some coming from AliExpress, so we'll see if I regret that, but that was way cheaper.
Same thing with alligator clips. I got like a whole bunch, and it's like, oh yeah, for like $6, 30, yeah. And then I get them, and it's like, oh my god, these are like the horriblest thing ever.
Yeah, I'm sure they're gonna be a piece of shit, but whatever.
But those are the ones that we see everywhere, and it's like, how do people even use these? But
I don't know how you're supposed to use them. That's just what I use them for. I clip one end of the chip and then one end to some jumpers, and the jumpers into the Arduino, and then I reprogrammed it.
Yeah, but the alligator clips, the ones with the plastic.
Oh yeah, those suck. Oh, it's Moldavia. What's up, dude?
I didn't even hear it coming.
I heard a little beating.
Hello.
Hello. Apparently my mic was muted.
Oh, we can hear you now, so you're good.
Oh, good.
So he's putting together this 8x8 matrix that looks like it's going to be a pain in the ass. So if there is a link in the Drunker box for what he's building.
Yeah, I saw it when they sent it out. I made a 3x3x3 years ago that I painfully programmed with my Arduino, and it was a whole lot of just looping through patterns one at a time because I have no idea what I'm doing with programming, so I couldn't address anything or make it fancy.
That's right.
At that point,
I know you told me this isn't a hacker box, but the boxes that shall not be named, but I already forgot that.
I feel like if I'm gonna do any type of patterns or whatever, I'll create a script or a tool, and then where I can just be lazy and do whatever. Then I'll use it like twice, and I'm like, all right, I'm done. Put away for
I think mine was a lot of digital write high, digital write low. Oh, it was painful. I still have it around.
I wouldn't be able to do. I'm a web developer, but I'm a programmer. I'm not sure I could do much more than that at this point either. Animation stuff is a whole other ballpark.
There's my sketchbook.
And then when I was looking for like the instructions, I found several tools, and it's like they're still bad. It was like, how do you even know which one's which? And I don't know. Alright, so can somebody read and explain to me at the end of step 2, right before 3, it says make sure you solder the resistor array in the right orientation. When the PVC is on the following orientation, the letters of the resistor array should be facing at the back. So I shouldn't be seeing the letters, correct? That's how I am taking that.
Let me find the instructions.
Let's see. Did you find it? Or do you want me to repost it?
I'm scrolling through it.
Oh, okay.
Looking for this LED or the resistor array.
If you search for actually let me just control F resistor array, but it's right before step 3. Let me see your you're still on the front side of the board. Wait, so you already all that other stuff on the back, or is this a different board?
Alright, so it looks like the text on the resistor array should be facing the socket.
Okay. I wanted just a confirmation. Or Babs, what was your question?
I actually don't know what a resistor array even looks like, so I was curious.
In that picture just above step 3, that little black thing highlighted in the box.
It really looks like it's just there's a little thing there, but it's really not standing out too much.
Yeah, it's a single inline pin package, so you'll usually have one pin that's like a common, and then the rest of them will go out to different resistor values.
Can you show me what the front and back of that looks like, Pirate?
Yeah, let me get a magnifying glass.
Yeah, clearly when you have a moment.
Let me Google that for you.
Oh no, I want to see what his looks like.
I know. I was being a smartass.
Well, I mean, I do make.
Were you gonna put the link where it automatically just Googled it for them?
Okay, now flip it around. Sweet.
Yeah.
So I didn't see text on any of that, but that could just be the focus.
The focus.
I mean, you don't have to focus. I was just curious what it looked like. It's.
Oh, I'm not saying that you want perfection. I'm saying that my room is just extremely dusty.
It's fine. I did help someone the other day. He was doing the DC Darknet badge on Twitch, and luckily I came on right when he was putting the JST connector on just to test it, and it was backwards, and I only know that because I put it on backwards too when I did it at DEF CON. So I said, hey man, the JST needs to face in the board, because you don't realize that until it's not really easy to tell that from the image, because it's kind of like a white blob, but later when they plug in the battery, it's like, oh shit, I plugged it in backwards, or I soldered it in backwards.
That resistor array, you should have a dot on the one side of it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and that goes to the square on the silk screen.
Okay.
What do you mean to the square? I mean the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
I see. Yeah, I see the
that's
square
in the that square in the silk screen. That's your polarity mark, like your pin 1 technically.
Okay, and then on that resistor array, that dot, it means that side first.
So the dot needs to be in the square.
Cool. Now, the other one that I don't know the polarity of is the switch.
How would you convince yourself that's true?
Which part?
Like, I thought resistors didn't... so this only reason this has polarity, even though it's a resistor, is because they all share the same ground?
Yeah, they'll have one pin in common, usually. Think of it as a whole bunch of resistors with one end all wrapped up together.
Yeah. And
then breaking out into individual resistors.
Yeah, IoT actually had one on his thing that he's building, but I didn't really know.
Oh, does this thing have schematics?
I am sure somewhere.
Schematics are great.
Yeah, but we don't know where they are. the thing he actually bought doesn't have one, but there's lots of them online, so it's hard to tell if it's really for this one.
Yeah, understandable.
So you're not gonna do B-sides?
Oh, B-side started today, so no. The only thing I really saw that looked interesting was they had a CTF kind of boot camp. I was like, oh, that would be interesting to go to, but I was not prepared for it. When I found out yesterday, I was like, oh, B-sides is happening this week? Oops.
Oh, it's literally just today and tomorrow. Man, that's rough. To be in the just during the week.
It's stupid because it's like a 15-minute drive, 10-minute drive from where I am. So.
Man, I would have gone. But
yeah, look. Oh man, today was the CTF crash course.
Yeah, that's the one.
Traffic analysis, crypto puzzler. I don't know if that's today. Actually, I just realized that's just.
I do not have the mind for crypto, for crypto puzzles. It's like I don't even know where to begin.
I don't either, but that's why I would totally go to that because it's like, well, how do people do it?
I'm planning to write scripts, and was like, just feed it to the script.
Yeah, but how do you know what script to use?
English.
My first DEF CON, there was a page in the manual that was all just strings of characters, and I was looking at it going, I wonder. So I started writing them down, and did an ROT13, and the first line said, "You wouldn't think I'd use ROT13, would you?" And after that, it was something else. I'm like, oh well.
Speaking of that,
Thanks, Lost.
I wish you would go back to making videos, Lost.
Me too.
I just started watching his videos on back in I guess April of last year.
He was doing the gates.
Yeah. Oh god! Oh my god, that was amazing! I got about halfway through his video because I kept pausing it to like process it and try to get what's going on.
Yeah, he was moving a little quick.
Half adder, and then he built an adder, and then he built like a thing, and I'm like, this is amazing. I need to figure out some shit on my badge first, because I'm not going to be building adders in my badge. And when I went back, I didn't know how Twitch worked at the time. When I went back, it's like, oh, the videos are gone, and he's not doing any more, and they're not on YouTube. And I guess his house got flooded, and he's dealing with that right now.
They're not archived? Schematic!
You found one?
Yes. From the Banggood. There's a zip file on the Banggood site.
Oh, here, can you post a link?
Good, but maybe it'd be more fun to let you find it.
No, I don't think that'd be fun at all. Oh man, this B-sides has like 1, 2, it's like 3 different tracks. UVU Cybersecurity Club.
So it's a zip file with some information in it. What's in this zip file? There's a schematic.
Are you part of Utah Cybersecurity Society?
I am not.
There's a Utah Cybersecurity Society, and they had a members meeting today at B-sides.
I guess just even registering for B-sides gets you a membership in that. It's like $1.
Oh, nice.
Alright, where's this resistor array? There it is.
Oh man, this has some good pictures in it.
What the?
Too.
Oh, this is... How? Okay. Alright, so that resistor array, the pin 1 on it, the square one, goes to VCC, so it's just a 10K pull-up for, what is that, 8 of those lines, which go to U3 from U10.
Don't actually see the resistor array.
It's J1 next to U10 on the right. There's 10K down at the bottom there. So
which page are you on?
There's only one page.
Oh no, I'm looking at steps of soldering. Hold on. I was looking at the steps, not the schematic.
go back. Wait, is that in the... Oh, it isn't looking at that one.
Is that the resistor array in that big ass rectangle? If this is definitely a different board.
Just to the right of that big rectangle.
Yeah, this is a slightly different.
And that's why I don't trust most of the instructions.
Oh man, that's a
yeah,
lot of boxes in here.
The board and the pictures in the PDF do not show the resistor array.
Well, what's that thing that's in that big rectangle that looks like it should have a something soldered on? No, in page 2 of the soldering steps.
Oh, that's the resistor array.
So how does that work? It's like
they've got it on the. They just place it inside the footprint for the microcontroller rather than on the outside.
So it's just but there's like a socket that's supposed to go there. So how does that work?
The socket goes on the other side of the board.
Oh wait, what? No, silk screens in the image. So I'm looking at page.
Well, unless they're actually putting the socket right on top of that.
If you look at page 5, you can see the silk screen under those sockets for the little one. And
so it looks like there's probably room in the socket for that resistor array to sit inside of it.
That's so weird. I mean,
sneaky.
Cool, but why?
Sneaky. So what's a 74 ALS 573? I don't know these things.
I don't even know how to read schematics, really.
I'm slowly working my way to do that.
Like, there's some grounds there, I guess, and so if you open the schematic and you look on the upper left-hand side, like that, to me, I feel like someone would look at that and be like, aha, of course.
The power?
Switch, I guess. I mean, it says power, so I mean that wasn't. So is that LED like an indicator then?
Yeah, all it does is it turns on when there's power applied to it.
So is there a reason why they didn't attach the LED ground to the other ground that's just like right there? Like, are those different in some way? Because one's like light red and one.
No, it's. I wonder if they actually like copied the power jack and that part was darker red and just pasted it in.
Because if you look, all the grounds are light red except those two next to the right next to power.
Yeah, which makes me think they just copied and pasted an image in.
Alright, quick, I want to phone a friend. The long LED leg is positive, correct?
If James was here, he'd be like, maybe.
I don't know, try it.
In my experience, the long one is usually the anode / positive. But I'm literally staring at LED right now on my I saved it just because I'm like, oh my god, I found one in the wild. that is not true. I don't have any idea what pit this came from, but I have an LED where the shorter lead is the anode.
There's also a flat spot on the LED that's usually the cathode.
But I think in terms of these specific LEDs,
no,
I mean, do you have a little battery?
No, I'm talking about this tiny red one. Yep, okay. I remember the flat is negative. Or the
octal D-type transparent latch with 3-state output. Ooh, fancy.
Yeah, so if this kit doesn't make me learn which one is the cathode and anode.
Oh my god, that's gonna be interesting, right?
Right, fancy words.
Make sure you don't get those wrong on the grid.
Oh god. Alright, cut these legs and then solder all the sockets and then We'll plug it in real quick. Let's see if the LEDs work. If they do, it's half working. Now you guys can rant and, you know, debate about the other stuff. Sorry if I derailed you.
What was that?
It's like now you guys can like talk and debate and stuff now that I have to just solder all these hundreds of tiny
That really use a
LEDs.
serial port for programming?
Yes. Which that's gonna be fun. Are you getting nightmare flashbacks of like Witcher 3x3?
That one wasn't too bad. I wouldn't want to do 8x8x8. But
Yeah, I'm looking at these instructions and it's like, oh my god, one layer looks like nightmare fuel, let alone 7 more.
I've made a little jig out of a piece of plywood and use a drill bit, and it's like I just mark them out of 1-inch squares, and that made it real easy.
There's a piece of cardboard, I guess, that you can use here.
Cardboard, plywood, whatever.
I mean,
Someone, I remember, 3D printed one. Don't remember who that was, though.
Oh, did you ever see, what's that guy who does all those really cool freeform solder things?
Yeah, those are fun. I don't know his name.
The dude on Twitter?
He 3D printed like a hex diagram, or it's like a hex shape, so that he could put all the LEDs in and solder them all exactly.
I saw that one.
Oh god, that looked beautiful. All his stuff looks beautiful. I definitely don't have the patience and not good enough with my hands to do that kind of stuff yet. I should probably totally get this kit just to get more practice doing stuff like that. Or not even practice, just fucking do something like that, period. Because I just don't build a lot of things yet.
Me either. I've been doing stuff for so long for work. It's like I get home and I'm like, I don't want to mess with anything. I just want to be a bum.
I'm a programmer, so I don't normally work with my hands. So this whole thing is very different, and it's like I had to I was making something with my ham radio club, and I just had to screw in a screw, and it was downright embarrassing how bad I was at screwing in a screw on these. I had these clamps that we were using to clamp down the tape measure stuff.
Oh, interesting. It doesn't even have the serial port built in. It just uses a UART, but it kind of gives you a little circuit off the side of the schematic there that says, here's how to wire up a MAX 232 to program it.
Oh, really?
So, if you could explain what a UART is in 2 sentences, how would you do that?
In 2 sentences? Oh, let me think.
Okay, so let's stand back.
It is the most basic serial port with transmit and receive only.
See, because when I think serial port, I think of the little connector or whatever.
The 9-pin, the D-sub-9.
Yeah, I will say yes. I will pretend I know which one that is. But yes,
the trapezoid-shaped connector.
Yes, 100%. So I've not programmed over serial, but that's what I think of when I think of serial.
Yes, you have.
Okay, well I've not programmed
USB is serial.
Well, see, that's the problem, is I don't know what's happening at any time. Okay, so
UART stands for, what is it? Universal Asynchronous Receive Transmit. Yeah, so it's a defined protocol, usually at a 3.3 or 5 volt logic level.
So it's a protocol.
Yeah, it defines it, says, okay, here's how we're going to talk. These are our logic levels that we're going to get to. And it's made for just basically interfacing with TTL or CMOS logic. Whereas like a 232 serial port was designed with some other features like hardware flow control, software flow control, and for longer distances, so they can go like plus and minus 12 volts. Whereas a UART usually is limited to between ground and 3.3 or 5 volts. But you can use serial speeds, I believe, up to 115K kilobits per second.
So is serial just a protocol as well?
And serial is kind of like a generic name for serial transfers. 1 bit at a time.
Okay, because when I would hear about UART, I didn't really know what it was, and I kept thinking it was like a physical thing. And so I would always... are you familiar with REST?
I've heard of it.
Okay, well...
I'm not really familiar with it, though.
If your... REST is it's a defined API communication, but it's over HTTP or HTTPS if you want, right? Like when you go to a website, if you go to twitter.com, you are making a GET request. When you submit a form, you are generally making a PUT request. So REST is, hey, you want to get something, well, you could do a GET request. You want to create something new, you do a POST request. You want to update a resource, then you go like /users would get you a list of users, /users1 would get you user profile 1, post users would create a new user, and put user 1 would update user 1, right? So it's a way of defining things, and there's some conventions and stuff like that. So REST is like a whole thing, but underneath it's like, well, it's kind of relying on web, and so you are a communication protocol that just relies on, I guess, voltage signals or something?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so you'll have like, a high being a 1 and a low being a 0. And so it kind of negotiates, well, sometimes it can negotiate, sometimes it's at a fixed speed. It says, okay, if we're going to be receiving it at 9600 bits per second, it expects the data to come in at a certain rate. So if you're trying to talk to something at a faster rate, it's not going to know what you're saying. It's going to interpret it as garbage. So it's a protocol in that you've got defined clock rates for how fast you're going to transmit depending on what speed you want to talk, and it is at the same time a physical connection. Like if you have like on the Arduino, it has a UART built in. So you know that these two pins are going to be transmit and receive. So if you need to talk to it, you do it over those pins. But like the Arduino has something that's going to transfer, what is it? It's not a MAX 232, but it's a USB to UART. So it takes those USB serial signals and transmits it or transfers it to, okay, we need to talk to this device at 5 volt logic level at such and such speed, and usually you can just set in software how fast it's going to talk to the microcontroller or whatever it's going to be talking to. Did I lose everybody?
No.
Oh, sorry. No, I forgot to hit push to talk again.
Oh, okay. Sometimes my thing craps out over here. It's like, wait, the tab is red. What's going on?
So I just looking at the page you sent me, it says specifically it provides the computer with the RS-232C data terminal equipment. So is that, maybe that's why I've always sort of thought it was a hardware piece, because I've always like, oh, it supports UART, and then there'd be that RS-232 connector on it.
UART's a little more than an RS-232.
But I'm just wondering. I'm wondering if that's why I thought that. Like sometimes I think about why I think about things a certain way, so I don't try to think that way again. If that makes sense. Why was I wrong?
If it makes sense, I don't know. Did we lose him?
Think of UART as a built-in serial port on microcontroller or whatever. It may not talk an RS-232 protocol, but it can talk using a serial data transmission method. If you wanted to talk like RS-232, where you have, you know, plus and minus 12 volts on transmit and receive, you're going to need something to convert from the UART to 232. But if you want to talk from one microcontroller to another over the UART bus, you don't need anything. You just need transmit and receive hooked up to receive and transmit.
Yeah, I can definitely tell I still don't have a good, solid model in my head of what's going on here, but this is at least helpful. Because I've heard of, like the FPGA, people have used FPGA to add a UART to something.
They're creating a UART in software.
Yes.
Well, they're using software to define a UART.
They're using software to configure gates to create a UART.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That's my understanding of FPGAs.
I've never done FPGA, so that's basically my understanding too. But I knew what gates were. I mean, I never wrote one, but like I understand that a gate is it's a physical thing, but has logical meaning, right? And then you just can keep tacking them on until you have a different a whole logical system that now you've just wrapped up into a specific name that says that's what this is. And then FPGA is just a way of you configure it once, and at that point that piece of hardware is hardware still. It's not you're not running software to create to then do UART things. It's just doing it like you had the gates from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Usually when it powers up, it loads like a configuration file that says these gates are connected in this way to make this device, and then it goes,
so there's like
okay,
analog and
then it's
something,
and then it's all run in hardware.
Yes, that's at least how I understand it.
I need to see a diagram of how it works, but it's just because I'm visual. I'm lazy too.
That's the thing. I have no idea how it works at all, but I know what a gate kind of is, like conceptually, and configuration makes sense to me. And so, even though it's all a big black box to me, like my brain does not get weird when you say FPGA, even though it's basically a black box. But when you say UART, every single time my brain goes, what? I don't what? And it wants to just focus on the fact that I don't really have a solid model in my head that I feel like I can ignore, like every single time. And I've tried looking up UART before, and I still am just like, what? It's just it's interesting that FPGA just doesn't even bother me that I don't know what it is, but I think it's just because it's like I don't need to worry about how it's executed. In the end, it's just treat it like it's another piece of hardware that you have configured. And there's a limitation on what you can do there. What was that?
Maybe a good explanation of the UART would be the UART is the hardware component of a serial communication.
Yeah, but I don't really know what serial is either, so I think it's like a...
What's the difference between serial and parallel?
Not a clue.
Okay, serial is going to be transmitting 1 byte at a time. You have one lane to communicate, whereas parallel, you have multiple lanes to communicate at once. Like an 8-bit parallel bus, you're going to have 8 bits that can transmit all at the same time. Whereas on a serial bus, you have to transmit those 8 bits one at a time on one wire. So the UART gives you a way to transmit and receive, so it can talk and listen at the same time. So you've got, well, there's half duplexing, which it can talk or listen but not both, and then there's full duplex where it can talk and listen. A serial transmit has one bus to transmit 1 bit or listen for 1 bit at a time. So you're just sending out a string of ones and zeros rather than sending a whole bunch of ones and zeros at once down 8 different lanes.
I don't know if you listened to Macrofab Moldavia, but the last episode they actually had someone talk about there's a FPGA boot camp. So I guess if you were ever interested, I don't know anything about it.
I haven't listened to Macrofab.
So even as an Uber noob, I actually very much enjoy that podcast. They do a really good job of being sort of informative and entertaining and explaining. They definitely get into a lot of subjects where it's like, I don't know what you just said, but I don't feel dumb about it. Like, I go, okay, I didn't get that, and then they moved on to something else, and that's informative or entertaining, and it helped me pick up terminology. Like, I might not know really what it means, but when I come across it, it's like, they talk about that a lot. I should probably read this a little harder.
I'm running out of room. Making tacos.
So these are the sockets and everything you're still putting on?
Yeah, and god damn it. Wait, where's the camera? Bend it. I'm sure it's a quick fix. Oh, so you take care of your tacos.
I would definitely have to go back over my Boolean logic to do FPGAs.
Yeah, but that's fairly straightforward. Like, I never really had to do real Boolean logic in programming, but I know of it, and there's a oh man, what was the name of that game? There's an Android game that's basically just Boolean logic gates that I actually really enjoyed a lot.
Oh yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
Like, it looks like little circuit boards, and you have to, it's almost like a maze where you have to make it a like and or not gate, and then you have to make the very simple one would be, it has to be an and gate, so you have to put both of them to true, and then the end result is, yay, you got to the end. And then it just gets more and more complicated.
Yeah, I can't think of what it's called off the top of my head.
I can't either, and it was on my old Android device, but I remember I downloaded that right before I went on a plane flight, and I played that the whole damn time.
I think I played it for a few levels, and I was like, eh. If I'm gonna focus on trying to get something working, like logic-wise like that, and I was like, I'd rather just write a script.
It's just, I don't know, it's just different and interesting, and I don't know, I enjoyed it. I don't normally like a lot of problem-solving games, but that one, I don't know, I like thinking that way, I guess. Because for me, it's, you don't actually have to look at the whole picture, you just have to look at all the components touching the part that you care about. Mm-hmm. And once you figure that out, then it's like, oh, this has to be this way. This one has to be true. And if that one has to be true, one of these must be false, and if one of these must be false, well, that one has to be true because there's no other way to do it. Like, when you get I'm sure that the much higher levels, it's crazy, but it's like you can break everything down.
Right, but like for me, my puzzle game is programming. I just sit there and try to figure out why is it not working. Like right now, because another coworker started a prank scripting war with me. Idiot was like, "Hey, take a look at that. I dropped a log file on your desktop. Can you take a look at it?" I'm like, "No, you didn't. Oh wait, your machine is this, right? Yeah. All right." And he drops it. I could instantly tell that it was a shortcut because of the little icon. I right click it. It goes to a shortcut to a folder called Evil on my C drive. And then I goes like, "You're an idiot." It was like, "What do you mean? It's a fake. It's not. It's a shortcut, not a script." It's like, "Damn you! Why can't you just click on stuff and open it up?" It's like, I'm not that stupid. So today I spent trying to find out how I can audit my Windows machine to see when and where or what files get created that I didn't create, so I know he did something. But of course I can't grasp around the whole Windows audit thing.
Oh no. So I don't know well, but I guarantee you this is going to be one of those Windows event.
No, yeah, thing. The event viewer, yeah.
So you could write a script to parse that. And it's not, I don't know, I've actually never seen what the actual log file looks like. I only opened it in Windows. I did a log challenge thing once for a CTF, and it was like Windows was excruciating. I had no idea what was going on. And then I flipped over to Linux, and it's like, oh yeah, cat grep, look for the thing I care about. I mean, It was really easy.
Yeah, so the easiest way that I could have done with an instant result was using PowerShell to, I think, what was the event? It was like event watcher something. It was something like a watcher or whatever. So anytime something gets created, it'll trigger the event, and then it'll tell you, was it created, renamed, or deleted. And then I'm using that for right now, but it's grabbing a lot of the stuff that I don't want from like the app data. So I'm trying to have it where if it contains any of these paths, do not write any, like, just, you know, it's false, and then don't do anything. If it's true, if it doesn't contain any of the paths that I listed and I don't want, then continue writing it and write it into a log. If it does, don't do anything. But for some reason, the not contain is not working. So I have to figure that out tomorrow. And then this weekend, I need to come up with a script to prank him later. So if you guys have any great ideas.
No, I don't have a good mind for pranks. Because then I just feel bad. I don't want to make people sad, even if they want to be pranked.
Oh hell no!
I just can't.
He's gonna suffer.
So I took a security class, which ended up being more like. Are you familiar with the CIA concept?
Which one?
Confidentiality, integrity, and I think it's accessibility. And so
yeah.
in it's like in security, it's not secure unless only the people that can see it can see it. No one can change it that can't change it. You know, like if you view a file, that the integrity of the file is true, and if you can view a file, you can actually view it. Like turning a computer off violates the A in the CIA. So it's just very like high level concept that if you take a security class, they'll talk about it, but in no way tells you anything about security, right?
Oh yeah.
So that's kind of what the class was. It was a lot of terminology. Like he talked about access control lists, but we didn't talk about IP tables. So very, very high level. So then I knew the next class was you're supposed to quote unquote hack people, and I was just like, ah. So I joined the security club and I learned about like Metasploit, and I didn't know how to do anything, but I knew Hail Mary existed. So when I finally took the security class, for like 3 weeks I didn't want to do anything because I was the only person in there that actually knew that I was the only person that knew that Wireshark existed. I I set up a VM. We had these shitty ass computers, but it was just enough that I could run a really shitty VM of Kali, and so I had Metasploit. And then I'm like, no, I don't want to hurt anyone. So for like 3 weeks, I didn't really do anything except show people how Wireshark worked. And then I got bored and I ran Hail Marys, and it didn't matter because it's brand new, newly installed Linux and Windows operating systems with not many services, and I mean there really wasn't much you could do. But even though the point of the class is to do that, it's like, no, I don't wanna.
I don't wanna be evil.
I don't wanna be evil. I mean, I had more fun teaching people that Wireshark existed and how to look at it than anything else.
Right.
More about setting up VMs.
Yeah, like they didn't know. I mean, I remember the first time someone told me about a virtual machine. I don't even remember. It was some random thing. So this is way before I got interested in security or tech. Someone was telling me to download this. It was a friend that I knew online, and he was showing me how to do Linux VM. So he already made the VM, and I could just download I believe it was VirtualBox even at the time, and I could load it. And I'm like, I don't get it. Why would I want a computer in my computer? This is dumb. Because I was not a very smart person.
I think my coworkers are the same.
Yeah, because now it's like, oh yeah, I always have like at least 3 VMs not turned on, but like set up on my computer at any given time. I always have a Windows ISO file with like the 90-day thing on it. I have a Kali Linux VM and then a generic Linux box. Oh, just always got to have that set up because you never know.
Right. At work, I've set up I'm using the Hyper-V on a spare machine that we were going to throw away anyways. I had an i7. It's like, fuck it. Damn. That was about it. LED now. And yeah, the same thing is like, they're like, can you make this program work on Windows 10? It's like, this software is 20 years old. Yeah, but it works over here. This is Visual Basic 6, dude. Like, before .NET and everything else. How do you expect it to run on Windows 10? Sure enough, it still runs. But
I just posted a link to like a little circuit simulator thing that I'm just enjoying staring at.
Do it.
Don't quite get.
Oh yeah, this one's a great one.
Wait. So okay, let's talk about this. Makes sense to me, kinda, because it's no. Hold on, so
I'm gonna close the video stream because it's messing with my audio.
We're about to finish it.
Oh, I always mute it. I always mute the audio.
Well, no, because I'm running Discord in the browser.
Oh wait, and then I forget is it you who likes to torture yourself with Slack?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so which circuit are you looking at?
The one whatever is on the link there.
Okay, so the one that it starts with.
Yes, and so there's a battery. I'm guessing that's a inductor, the little squiggly thing.
Mm-hmm.
2 resistors and a capacitor, right?
Yes.
Because the switch is open, there's no actual flow going on. But in the diagram, it's sort of going back and forth. Why?
It's resonating.
Oh my god.
Wait, that could actually happen?
Yeah, because what
Really?
happens, like, click on the switch.
Yeah, and then...
So what's going to happen there is the current's going to start flowing through there. Through that 10 ohm resistor at the top, it's going to charge that 15 microfarad capacitor. Current's going to stop flowing through that once that capacitor gets charged up to the battery voltage. So now you've just got current flowing through the inductor and the 100 ohm resistor. But as soon as you open that switch, current is going to go backwards through that, from the capacitor through the inductor, and it's going to charge that capacitor back up the other way. And then it's going to go back and forth and do that. It's because of the current flow through the inductor and the capacitor are 180 degrees out of phase. So it's kind of weird to visualize, but basically they're feeding off of each other. You're going to get energy built up through the inductor while the capacitor charges, and then the capacitor is going to discharge back through the inductor, which is going to build up energy in the inductor again and charge up the capacitor.
Okay, so I guess hold on, let me reset this thing. So I get confused because I just load it up, and that thing's going back and forth, and there's all that stuff going down below. And so is it trying to act like the switch just opened, and this is how long it's taking for things to dissipate?
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay, so I did not get that at all until you started explaining about closing the switch and then opening it, and then I just happened to notice that the things down below are they're getting, like, the things getting, I guess, in phase, and then it's slowing down. Oh yeah, see, now it's I can see, I really see it slowing down. Huh. Damn, this is neat,
okay.
Actually.
So yeah, the one on the left is going to be the voltage through the inductor. Voltage and current. So the green is the voltage, the yellow is the current. And then capacitor and resistor. So you can see the resistor, they're in phase. The yellow and the green are making the same waveform, just a little bit smaller, right?
Sorry, I'm going back to the thing. So it well, it kind of depends on when you first start, they're kind of in phase, right? I guess. Well, there's 3 segments here. I don't know how to read these segments.
Yeah, that's what I'm explaining. The bottom one on the right is the voltage and current going through that 10 ohm resistor. Those are in phase. So the center one is the voltage and current going through the capacitor. So a voltage is going to lag the current by 90 degrees going through a capacitor, because the capacitor will charge up with the current immediately, but the voltage takes time to build up. So there's going to be a bit of a lag. It's going to charge up after. Whereas an inductor, the voltage leads the current, because an inductor resists change to current through magnetic fields. And so that voltage is going to lead the current. So the yellow is the current on the inductor over on the left there, and that's coming after the voltage change. So because the inductor and the capacitor are each 90 degrees out of phase, but in different directions, they're 180 degrees out of phase total.
So how did you know which one was yellow and which one was green?
If you mouse over it and highlight the yellow, it'll show you like a current measurement, and the green's going to show you a voltage measurement. So this is basically a resonant circuit.
This is cool. Like, this is such a simple little thing, but we had so much to talk about. And the fact that, like, yeah, even once you open the switch, all that stuff's still happening is kind of interesting. And then here, let me turn the capacitance with. So it's like when I increase the capacitance, it probably because it takes longer to fully charge, it takes longer for that to stabilize. And then let's see what. Oh, and then yeah, the flow of it takes a lot longer before it starts reversing again.
Interesting. Well, I'm done with this board for now. Tested and it works.
Can we see it?
Oh, you had your chance. You were geeking out.
I just couldn't help it. There's graphs and pictures.
Well, I had blue LEDs and you missed it.
I did miss it. Come on, man. Need my fix.
I was about to say that. It's like, I don't know. We gotta find a better way to clean the splattered flux. Let's see.
Isn't it usually just like alcohol in one of those little brushes?
Usually, yeah. I don't feel like taking out the big bottle of alcohol. Today is a sober DrunkerBox. Doesn't want this thing
Oh my
perfect.
god, you can... I'm sorry. You can zoom in on the circuits.
Didn't know that.
I'm using the Mac way, so I don't know how you... The scroll wheel, maybe? In your... If you have a normal mouse.
Just by scrolling it.
Yeah, but it tries to scroll the page too, so it's a little bit odd.
Oh, you have to put your... mine if I just put the mouse inside the simulation.
Yeah, but when I do that, it tries to scroll the page as well.
Woo! +1 for Mac.
Hey, put your cursor over a resistor and then scroll.
Oh my god, yes.
Oh, cool.
I'm a very visual person too, so this is very exciting.
Yeah, click on circuits, go to 555 timer, and then go to internals, and you can see how the 555 timer works.
No, oh my god, there's MOSFET. I still don't really quite understand a MOSFET, but there's MOSFETs.
Oh, dude, this thing is cool.
I didn't mean to ignore your stream, Pirate. This was just
No.
interesting.
No. I'm hurt. No, I understand this. I remember stumbling upon this and was like, oh, it's electrical. Nah. And now that I'm trying to learn it, I'm like, what were those websites? Or I never
Sorry, where do you see the 555?
Go to circuits.
Click on, yeah, circuits, and then 555 timer chip.
Oh, there we go. Duh. Wow. Because this is one of those things where I just got an oscilloscope actually. I should probably go get it. I don't know how to use an oscilloscope, so I can't see these sort of things going on. Even if I breadboarded this, I would just be following some instructions and I'd be like, okay, I guess I don't know why. So this lets me like play with it a little bit to see what's happening. I still don't know what's happening, but this is cool.
This is a great thing for visualizing some things.
It's lighting up, but because it's like trying to do whatever pattern it is doing.
There's like all this animation stuff going on, and you can't. Those are actually really pretty blue. Like, I mean, like it's a very pretty color. I don't know if it's quite as blue as I'm seeing.
They're not bright. They're not the annoying bright blue. They're very.
But it's almost like an ice blue.
Yes.
I actually, because I just ordered some surface mount LEDs that were ice blue because they look so pretty, but I also got them on AliExpress, so who knows when I'll get it. That's actually kind of cool looking so far, even what you have.
Mm-hmm. This is just the easiest part right now. So.
I'm so sad I missed Puck's stream, and I can't hear you guys, and it sounds like you guys had a lot of fun for that one.
Oh yeah, we did.
I'm sad.
Even James was more, I don't know.
I think it's because I wasn't there to talk and interrupt everyone with a million questions that
you or IoT, so we had to pick up the slack. And James did a good job.
Well, because Puck's actually really good at talking. Like he can keep it going and he's funny, so he has his little jokes. But then James is really technical, but then also he gets pretty hilarious and he drinks a little bit too. He has some good little quips in there.
He does.
And so I am so sad that I can't hear that side of the conversation, because some of his responses are, "Oh my god, I want to know what he said."
He started a lot of them. We're like, "Oh my god, I forgot what word we dubbed it. That bog, that." Something about nuts? No. Oh my god, I forgot what we dubbed it because we kept saying the word. But yeah, and then
But it was probably better that I wasn't there, because it gave. I didn't constantly interrupt. Like, I would have asked so many questions and start talking and told some long story. So it's probably more interesting that way.
no, I don't think it was that.
No,
I think
because
because I think James was more. I don't know. I really don't know. I was drunk.
I sounded like everyone was a little bit. That went on for 4 hours.
Yeah, and then he only soldered a few resistors. That was
Yeah,
it.
I started like 2 hours in, and he had just started doing the row of stuff.
Yeah. So it
But
took him a while to set up. So
Looked amazing. The every time he turned on the little rework tool and they just sort of melted and like into place, that was amazing to watch.
oh yeah, no, I was so jealous. That thing looks amazing.
And then at one point he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna tell a story like Bavin," and I'm thinking, "No, your story was not 20 minutes long. You didn't forget the point you were making. You didn't switch subjects like 3 different times."
See, this is why we need you. You bring in more topics because you covered like 3 different things, and we have to go back and discuss them.
Yeah, but when James and IoT were doing a stream, they would talk shop, and like that in itself is really interesting. Just like overhearing that,
Yeah.
because they both are very technical. Like they know things, like they know how things work. They do things, but they know they understand how certain things work. So their conversations, I always feel, are a little bit higher. I don't know how to explain it, or technically lower level stuff.
Or rocket books on Woot.
Oh, I already have 3 of them, but you know what? Hold on, let me go look.
Alright, that concludes this one.